All right, we're recording? Okay. Saving money in itself actually is not hard. But why does it seem this way? If you're like me, then you probably know that saving money is not just about saving, but more so that you have a nice nest egg for when life happens. And to be honest, I can't tell you how many times I've went to get my oil changed just for the mechanic to tell me, hey, you have something else wrong with your car. And I totally didn't see it coming. Or going to the grocery store only to realize, hey, oh, I actually need this thing, but I only came here to get one thing. Or worst of all, going and coming home and you get a bill in the mail that you didn't expect. Like, Jesus, dude. You know what I'm saying? So to have a nice nest egg that has enough money in it to make you not worry about life and what life has to offer, it takes away a lot of the stress off your shoulders and allows people like us to feel like the things that we're doing actually matters and that we're actually moving in a direction in life that we want to go, moving in a direction towards a life that we want to live. Today, I put together a list of things that I think will bridge the gap for someone like me that's trying to save money for a nest egg to grow or to even do some investing. So that brings me to my first thing. Number one, I deleted online shopping apps for a while. I know it might sound like a very weird idea or a very common sense thing. I saw something that I believed that I could use or something that I thought would be really helpful, only to realize, hey, it's only $20. That means it's not that bad, right? But then what ends up happening is I see something else that might be $3 or $30. You never know. But in the end, it all adds up and it adds up and it adds up. And once it's finally all together, now I've realized that I've spent $200 or even $300. And there have even been times where I looked up and it's been $1,000 or more, especially when I've looked at things like clothes from Amazon or electronics, because these are the things that I am most interested in, clothing and electronics. So the idea of deleting Amazon from my phone, or to at the very least, stop looking at it for a period of time, will in fact save me money, and it has. And it's because I won't even be tempted by the idea of purchasing something that I might not even need or something that I might not even want. And then in today's age, where everyone's trying to sell you something, I think it's important that we realize this and understand it's holding us back from making progress in our finances. Even right now, I'm looking for I feel bad for even saying this, but I'm looking for a wireless remote for my camera, and it costs $60. But I just had this very expensive trip fail, and it cost me a lot of money. So right now I am in recovery mode. And the last thing I need to do is buy a wireless remote for my camera from Amazon for $60, because I need to start saving every penny for the next couple of months to recuperate the loss of the plane ticket. I actually have another video that talks about how I lost that money. So if you're interested, the link is in the description below. Number two, paying for things with cash. So having a credit card or a debit card makes the process for buying items very easy and very convenient. While I'm a person that likes the ease of being able to tap your card or tap your phone, swipe your card, use your card, the chip to pay for food or groceries, I actually like doing all three. It's like a weird little gimmick I have, whatever. But what it does is it activates the center of your brain that speaks rewards, because it's easy. Whereas when you pay for things with cash, it activates the pain centers of your brain. And I always thought it was a myth, but it actually is true. One of the very crucial ways that I've been able to save money or save $75,000 is paying for things in cash, meaning that at the beginning of the week, I pull out the cash that I need, for the week according to my budget. So this week, for example, I'm pulling out $180, just to let you know. And that's the only cash that I need to use to buy groceries or anything else like that. I remember as a kid, my mom used to give me money to go on field trips. It was only like $10. And she used to give me money and things like that. Or even to go to the bookstore to buy a book from school. from the library when they had the book fairs come into town. I remember looking at how much money I had and how much money that I could spend. And it definitely changed my outlook on what I could and could not get at the book fair. I can visualize this right now as I'm talking about this. But then there were times that, I would leave the book fair with a couple of dollars or a couple of cents left because I actually budgeted for it. Whereas I wonder if I had a credit card or even a debit card as a child, would I have stayed within the budget? Would I have bought as many books as I wanted? Because I remember I wanted a lot of Captain Underpants stuff. Number 3, having an actual budget. So this goes into my second point. So throughout my 30 years of existence, I've learned in my early 20s that having a plan is the most significant way to accomplish anything in life. Going into my adulthood, I had a plan that I wanted to get my life together. I wanted to go to a career path that actually led somewhere and not something that would be a dead-end job or very low paying. And the same can be applied when it comes to saving money. So as we talked about before, the idea of saving money is, to be honest, it's not hard to think about. It's the habits that we have when it comes to spending it that stops us from saving it. Having a plan means having a budget. And the way you want to budget, it's entirely up to you. There are a lot of finance gurus out there that will tell you how to make a good budget, calculating how much money you bring in every month, subtracting your expenses, and whatever money you have left over goes into savings. While there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it might not work for everybody. After all, everyone has a different plan for how they want to spend their money. Some want to use it to have fun, and how they spend that to have fun is up to them. For me, personally, having fun might be, hey, I want to stay inside and play World of Warcraft. If you don't know World of Warcraft, you're missing out. Some people want to spend their money on fun, like going out to eat or even going on vacation. Or if you're still reckless and spend money on alcohol and going to the clubs, that's your thing. But it's how you have fun, which, let me say, it is very stupid to spend your money on alcohol and going to a club. It's probably one of the worst ways you could spend your money. But hey, if it's in the budget, everyone is different, right? The only thing I'm going to say that you have to make a budget and you actually have to plan where you want the money to go. Because without that, your money goes everywhere. And then you look up and don't understand where it went so fast. As a side note, I want to say, so I had a buddy of mine when I lived in Hawaii that actually had a separate bank account. I shit you not. He had a separate bank account for going to the bars and club funds. So he always knew how much money he had to go to the bar or the club. So he really didn't have a limit except for what was in the account. So he was responsible enough to save, and as reckless as it is to spend money on alcohol and going to nightclubs, I'm not going to lie. I was actually kind of shocked and impressed. He was still able to do that and save money, which is, like I said, it's pretty impressive. You know what I'm saying? Which leads me to my point number 4, the income problem. Okay, so everyone says that you have to save money, but the reality is a lot of people in the world just simply don't make enough. If I only brought home $2,000 a month and my monthly expenses came out to $2,200 every month, then every single month I have to run up a credit card for $200 just to survive. And that right there is a math equation that simply says we don't make enough money and we're spending too much. And the sad reality is that sometimes you have to spend this money in order to sustain your lifestyle, such as buying groceries, keeping the lights on, buying your kids things that they need for school, buying things you need for work, paying for gas. The list goes on and on. Some of these things, if you were to compromise to do cheaper options, would result in your life being unbearable and would make you look at it and wonder, what's the purpose? So there's always this thing that comes to this moral dilemma, and it makes you think, what am I willing to give up? Okay, so if you're living in an area that's too expensive for you and your family, then You may want to move to an area that's cheaper. This is something that I've done before. But the question is, would doing that make your commute to work longer? Would it cause more tension in your family? Or would it even be worth it after you get done paying a moving company to move all of your things and you've put yourself in a further hole? These are real questions that real people like myself have considered because I've been there before. And that's the only reason why I'm speaking on it, because this is what I had to do in order to save money. I did have to go through that. And I know it's not as easy as just saying, hey, lower your expenses. I totally understand that even if it is the right answer, it is very difficult sometimes to do that. But with all that being said, there has to be something you could do to fix this problem, right? And that simply would be to just make more money. In 2025, we have so many ways that you can make money. You can make money doing jobs from home, doing something in information technology, working from home. You can make money driving Uber, and you can make money delivering pizzas. If anybody watches Dave Ramsey, you know that's something he always says. If you take a moment and look at your life and look at what you're doing for work, especially if you're single, have no kids, you really don't have too many excuses for why you can't work a second job, or more hours at work, or work on a side hustle that's going to bring you up to make more money. And I know that most people, and I used to be in this category, so I totally understand. Most people spend their time wasting it. People waste most of their time staying in, playing video games, going out with their friends, drinking, partying, watching Netflix, watching Disney Plus, instead of trying to focus on making more money. And let's get real. I know that's one of me. I play World of Warcraft. I could have been out making more money. And that's when I had to sit here and say, like, something has to change. And I put in the work and got a better paying job. The point is that there are always options to make more money, but you have to be willing to take the leap of faith and actually walk the walk, because there are no shortcuts. No, nothing I can say can change how your life is. Just like nothing you can say can change how my life is. There's just hard work and there's dedication to the plan that you set out, which leads me to point number 5, the roommate. Okay, so this one really applies to single people, but if you're in a relationship or you have the space inside of your home, you could possibly do this as well. And the thing is to find a roommate. We all know that for most people in the world, the biggest expense that you have is paying rent or a mortgage. That is your biggest expense. And I want you to think about if you had someone that lived in your house and helped pay half of the rent. To be honest, half of all the utilities. I remember going back to Hawaii, I lived with a roommate. I lived with him for a while. I remember the difference it made because my rent in Hawaii was $2,100 every month for the rent by myself. And I remember struggling with that. But I remember how awesome it was when I got a roommate. But then, having a roommate covering half the expenses and the rest of that money that he put in, the rest of the money I saved, I put it back in my savings account. And this is when my bank account really started to go up. It's everything I said before this and then the roommate. It gave me a lot of happiness to see and to even know that, yeah, I'd have to pay a landlord $2,100 a month. But then I knew in that same day, I would get $1,050 back from my roommate, which means that's $1,000 that I get to put in my account. Now, nobody is saying that you have to do this forever. I know that if you're in a relationship, if you're a couple, you probably don't want someone, especially a single person living with you that might become a third wheel, or you might feel like you don't have any privacy as a couple. But as we said before, if you have a plan to do this and you set out beforehand that you're looking for a roommate, to stay for maybe a certain period of time, then that can certainly be something that you might be willing to compromise on to maybe pay down some big debt, or maybe you could use it to accomplish another financial goal, like putting a down payment on a house. Everything becomes less stressful when you know that all of your bills are going to be paid, and everything's going to feel less stressful knowing that you are going to be able to accomplish your goals. So in conclusion, with these 5 things that I just mentioned previously, I think that the average person could probably save money and create some sort of wealth for themselves, if not for their families, then for themselves. The biggest thing that I think you could take away from this is to create a plan, and you have to be committed to it. You have to be on the same page with your partner or your friend or whoever it is, including yourself, on how you want to accomplish these goals. Because nothing that I've mentioned above none of it will work if you're not willing to make some sort of sacrifice. This is kind of the key thing that I'm getting at here, because there is no super easy way for anyone to make money that requires you to just sleep and do absolutely nothing. I mean, even to be a Twitch streamer that literally slept on stream, if you know what Twitch is, but even if you just literally started streaming and went to sleep, you still have to go through the work of turning on the live stream, setting up the camera, and making the Twitch account, which revolves some type of work. So I hope these 5 things helped you. And if you have any other things you'd like to add to this, or any other feedback you want to let me know, or if you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.